Hi, thanks so much for joining in. You're watching NDTV Profit. This is Ask Profit, and my name is Alex Mathew. Like the name suggests, this show tries and gets you answers to all of your stock-related questions, whether those are short-term in nature or long-term portfolio-based questions. We try and get all of them answered, and in case you have one for us, you can send them to us on the WhatsApp number that should be on your screen. In fact, it is on your screen, or on any one of our social media platforms. Before we start taking some of your questions, though, let me take you through what's happening with the markets right now. And it's turning out to be a great end to the financial year, the last trading day, of course, of the financial year today. And you're seeing gains of about 1% or so for the Nifty 50, trading comfortably above the 22,300 mark, in fact, inching closer to that 22,400 mark. And the broader market's not doing as well. You have the mid-cap index that is trading with gains of about 1/3%. I'm talking about the 150. And you have the small cap 250 index that's up about 0.7% at this juncture. The sectoral picture looks quite strong. In fact, all of the sector indices are in the green. Of course, some trading with very minor gains, but the big gainers, of course, are the PSU banking pack, which lost ground yesterday. The Nifty finance pack is up quite a bit, and you'll see why in just a bit. But you have energy that's gaining over 1%, metal is up over 1%, and so is IT, which was under pressure again in trade yesterday. So it's looking like a pretty picture. Let's also look at the key contributors on the Nifty 50. And you will see right at the top of the screen, oh, actually it's not reflecting here, but ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank doing quite well. But I was going to talk about the Bajaj twins, which are quite significant gainers in trade today. So Bajaj Finance up as much as 3.3%, and you have Bajaj Finserv also that is gaining ground. Of course, there's the news item that NDTV Profit broke. It's an exclusive that talks about the possible IPO of a Bajaj Finance, its housing company, a housing finance company, and they're looking for an IPO of as much as $1 billion, and that's quite significant for the Bajaj twins. Now, we are going to be focusing on one particular counter today, and that's Maruti Suzuki, because while it's not moving too much in trade today, it's up about 1% or so. Yesterday's move was quite significant, and there was an update in terms of the management rejig that has been announced, and it is quite significant. So Shashank Srivastava, as well as the head of engineering division, C.V. Raman, who have been associated with this company for a very long time and have been part of very key decisions over the course of the last decade at the very least, are superannuating, and they will be moving to what is called an executive committee. This is unique, of course, to Japanese companies or those that have their foundations in Japan, because there is no real retirement for that culture, of course, and you continue to be associated with a company even beyond 60 years of age and well into the later years of your life. So these are individuals that have contributed quite significantly and will likely continue to do so in an advisory function. Let's look at some of the names that are coming in. You have Partho Banerjee, who's coming into the marketing side of things, and you have another individual within the same organization that is moving into the engineering function as well. So it's an elevation for individuals within the same. There you go. So within the same organization, it'll be interesting to see which direction is taken from here. But incidentally, the other big aspect about Maruti Suzuki is that it crossed the 4 lakh crore mark, the first automotive company in India to do so. And that's quite the landmark. Rohan Mehta, who's founder of Turtle Wealth, and Kunal, Rambhia, founder of The Street, joining in to talk about both this as well as several other questions that will be taken up over the course of the day. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time as always. Rohan, I'll come to you on this. I was looking at the consensus estimates for the price target for Maruti Suzuki, and 41 analysts still have a buy rating on the stock. You have just about 3 that have a hold, and if I'm not mistaken, 6. In fact, let's pull up that so that I'm not wrong in what I'm saying. But the majority have a buy rating on the stock. But the thing is that the price target has already been hit and breached. What is your view on the fundamentals, and how do you read this management rejig that has taken place?
Yeah, good morning. First of all, we hold Maruti in one of our PMS, and it was a very, conservative call. Honestly, we love Tata Motors, but Tata Motors happened to be very expensive, and we found that Maruti was pretty much into the right radar. Though if we see just a bit of comparison, Tata Motors have done 60% in this year, and then Maruti has only done 25%. But the whole game comes on to the point of two, three things. See, one is that Maruti, whatever we say, still has the highest capacity. Today, whatever the car you book forward for, there is nobody who can deliver as fast as Maruti. The hybrid model we are betting very huge on, because see, EV is still a bit of far and it's expensive, and your normal fuel cars are getting pretty costly. So hybrid is the way to go, and we are not talking for premium segment cars. We are talking for a middle class to a higher middle class person who wants to have this 15 to 20 lakh rupees of car. And the third is the CNG car, again, looking forward for a middle class start point. So I believe that, and what we see, that Maruti first time have come out with a car which is more than 25 lakh rupees of, near to an Innova of a car. So on to whole crux and 6 years of non-performance to what company is elevated on every front, I don't think so there is any point of giving a negative rating to Maruti Suzuki. We are expecting nearly, or we expected 12,000, as you rightly told, that numbers would be have achieved, but still we are expecting 14,500 into this year. So very positive on Maruti.
Okay, let's also very quickly get a technical view. Kunal, morning. How are you looking at Maruti Suzuki? As I was pointing out, it's already breached those targets on the fundamentals basis. But what are the charts indicating? Potential upside from here?
Morning, Alex. Morning to everyone. So if you look at the overall chart structure, right from, say, the extreme recent bottom, which we saw during 2020, the counter made a low of around 4,000. And since then, counter has not even made a single lower top, lower bottom. Yeah, there were months where the counter did not really perform. It was in the sideways consolidation, but the trend is certainly on. And the recent rally which we saw, that is from the low of Jan that was at around 10,000 to this 12,600, is showing an extraordinary strength. If I look at the ratio chart of Maruti versus Tata Motors right now, certainly Maruti is showing more strength. So from this level, even we can see further upside to say around 13,500 to 14,000 kind of levels. As of now, the trailing stop which is advisable to be placed at around 11,750. Till the time the counter remains about that, I'll keep on buying on every decline.
All right, and there you have it, the analyst recommendations that I was talking about. There's a hold by 6 of them, hold recommendation, and 3 have said sell. But very interestingly, I think the consensus price target for 12 months stands at about 12,100, and we're above 12,600 right now. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not there will be a revision in price targets that come out for some of these analysts that have a buy rating on the stock, 41 of them. Let's jump straight to the questions then. And we've got the first one coming in from Sri Kishore Sharma, who's writing in from Motihari in Bihar. Let's talk about Asian Paints, because he's buying, or rather he's bought 25 shares at levels of 3,100 in November of 2021. He's asking whether he should hold it for another 3 years. Rohan, what's the view on Asian Paints? I know we've talked about in the recent past with the increased competition in the space, but it continues to dominate.
Yeah, of course it continues to dominate, but it continues to be very expensive also, right? Because it dominates. So on that point where the competitions are getting very higher and the margins are getting onto a shrink point, it has a great brand, but still I don't think so there is any turnaround story or growth story now which we look forward for Asian Paints. An investor, if they are looking for a consistent 2-digit growth, then I think so there's no brainer to hold. It's a great brainer to hold Asian Paints. But if they are looking for growth, I think so there are better sectors to invest in comparison of paint and Asian Paints.
Okay, fair point. So what you're essentially saying is continue to hold it in your portfolio if you have it, but it's a portfolio company and it's going to provide stability in your portfolio rather than a growth. Is that right?
Yeah, sure. That's true.
Okay, fair point. The next question is from Nagendra. Nagendra is asking about PowerGrid InvIT. It's an interesting question. I don't want to take it on the technicals. I do want to ask on the fundamentals, because ultimately you buy an InvIT for the income distribution, right? And he's bought at levels of 98.03 and he's holding a significant quantity. Rohan, what's the view on holding something like a PowerGrid InvIT in your portfolio?
I think so. The objective here is a very different, as you rightly said. So it's a very decent thing. If the returns lure you, the income distribution lures you, I think so. It's a hold on to the point. It gives you a good hedge in front of equities volatility.
Hold is the view. The next question is Samir, and he's asking a question on Hitachi Energy India. He's saying that he's holding it from lower levels. He's asking about whether or not you should add at this level, Kunal, or should you sell, and any stop loss and target that you can help him with?
See, Alex, when the counter is in trend, I would certainly not advise anyone to book the profits. Rather, at this elevated level, I won't even ask someone to, add new position. But if our viewer is already holding on to the position, certainly he can hold on with a trailing stop loss. Counter recently made low of around 6,300, and from there we saw the bounce till around 7,300. So I think with the stop loss of 6,350 to 400 kind of levels, he can certainly hold on. If the counter goes below that level, revisit the channel, ask someone who is available at that point in time, and take a view at that point in time. But I think these kind of trending counters, one should not really be in a hurry to book the profits, hold on to the present position.
Okay. Shipping Corporation of India is the next counter that we're focusing in on, and it's something that Mohit has bought at levels of 39.4 rupees per share, and he's also got allocation in SCI land and assets. He's thinking about holding for the next couple of years. What's the view on this one, Rohan? Because when you're talking about shipping and you're talking about the various geopolitical issues around the world, that's something of a concern. But ultimately, a majority of trade in the world is conducted through maritime trade.
Yeah, so we put it like this in specifically into unaround territories where the things are too much into international boundaries, where we put it that company that we would like should be very high with value. So in comparison of SCI, this company we hold also is GE Shipping. Very, very well valued company, decent growth, decent management, exceptional, creation of, the growth which we are looking forward for in next 2 to 3 years. So GE Shipping could be a better better company than in place of SCI.
Okay, interesting. It's up about 18% over the last 6 months or so, and seemingly an interesting play in the space. Let's take the next question. It's a shorter term question, and this is from Sujay, and he's asking about Ujjivan Small Finance Bank, which he's bought at levels of 44, and he's looking at a 6-month view. Kunal, on the charts, how does this one look? It's up about 0.7% in trade today.
Ujjivan Small Finance, I think this counter is down, and that's trading at around 44 rupees. This counter is clearly in downtrend. Declining from 62 levels to almost 44, and still there is no ray of hope that it's entering into some kind of consolidation. The only support which I can suggest right now is the recently made bottom, and that's at around 44 to 43. So if by any chance counter manages to hold these levels and then bounces above say 48, 49 kind of levels, I think then we'll be able to speak something about the turnaround happening on the chart. But otherwise, it's a clear exit even at the present level.
Okay. Indiabulls Housing Finance is up and about in trade today, and quite a few financial names, in fact, are trading higher, but this one is up as much as 5.5% in trade, or more than that. I'm not too sure about the latest trigger. Rajiv has got this question. Rohan, any view on this particular counter?
Sorry, I don't track it.
Okay, fair point. Let me quickly get a technical view on this one. Kunal, what's the view on Indiabulls Housing Finance? Up quite considerably in trade today, yeah.
So Alex, from November, so far this counter has made the bottom of around 162 to 165, almost 3 to 4 times. Just yesterday itself, it made a low of around 163, and today we can see again a bounce coming in. So till the time this counter is beyond this 160 levels, I think one can certainly hold on to the position. One can even think of adding at the present level because the risk-reward ratio is very favorable, and this range can expand up to say 205, 210. About 210, there can be a new rally for the a new positive rally to the levels of say 250 to 260 kind of levels also. But for now, with the stop loss of 160, one can hold on, and the targets can be 195 to 200.
Okay, let's pull up Yes Bank, because I think this is another popular stock to talk about. It's trading at what, 23.5 rupees per share right now, and we've got not a very specific question from Srinivasa Reddy. He's asking what the view is on Yes Bank. I will come to you, Rohan, on this particular counter. It's been in the news over the last couple of years for various reasons. Would you buy this on the fundamentals, though?
Yeah, I think so. I've been asked so much of Yes Bank. I will buy one day in my portfolio, it seems so. But yeah, but I'll tell you, see, on a very clear point that we would not buy companies which are not onto the zone of it. So it is a very different way of understanding it. On the data wise, it's not right, but on emotion wise, I think so. Technical expert would be the right person to say, but on a fundamental point, it is pure no from my side.
Okay, so why don't I do just that? Kunal, what's the view on the charts for Yes Bank?
So 22.5 to 22.75 is a strong support on the chart. Since January, this counter has tested that level almost 4 to 5 times till the time. So it's about, say, a ballpark figure of 22.5. One can certainly hold on, and the rally can emerge about 25 with the target of 28. One can keep trailing the stop loss and hold on the position.
All right. Gentlemen, we have to slip into a very quick break. Viewers, we've got quite a few of your queries that are in already, and I know a lot of you are wanting to ask your questions. Do stay tuned. We'll be back before you know it. Welcome back. You're watching Ask Profit, and we are in the midst of taking all of your questions. The next question we'll take is from Akash. He's writing in from Mumbai, and he's asking about Adani Power, whether or not this is a counter to invest in for long-term growth. Rohan, a lot's been spoken about with regard to power, and incidentally, a lot of people on our platform as well have come in and talked about the potential for thermal power and the fact that it's not going anywhere in India. And that coupled with renewable is really the focus and how to play the space. What, according to you, is the view on Adani Power specifically and on the power space in general?
Yeah, on the power space, of course, we are very bullish. We are very heavyweight on automobiles and power, and we believe that most of our winners has been from the power. Now, coming to the thermal, the hydro, the renewables, see, what happens is that every time the story changes and we cannot, fluctuate from story here to here. But I think so you need to find companies which are, better into capex, better into capital adequacy, and a better place. So honestly, we don't track Adani as a segment on a whole. But we could look forward for companies like Voltan, Power Grid, Power Finance Corporation, Godavari Power Ispat Limited, Tata Power to look forward for in power segment in comparison. I have no comments on Adani Power, but these are the companies we hold and we are very positive about.
Let me very quickly ask Kunal on a technical basis, what's the view on Adani Power?
See, very comfortable formation as far as the charts are concerned. Since December, this counter has consistently taken support at 475, 480 levels. So till the time this counter is above 480, I think a buy on dip can be a good strategy. Our viewer is already holding to the position and he's willing to hold for even longer period of time. So yes, it's a hold as of now. Keep trailing the stop loss, keep visiting the shows again, and keep asking for the new training levels. I think that can be a good strategy going forward also.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. Keep watching the show and asking your questions is what Kunal is saying, and I completely endorse that. Credo Brands is the next counter that we're focusing on, and this is, by the way, Mufti is what you're probably aware of. This is a question from Parag, and he's asking about whether or not it can be bought based on the fundamentals. Do you have a view on this, Rohan?
Yes, I've seen the company a decent bit, and we believe that still a lot of things has to be seen. So maybe it's very early to come down to a point because just it has been into an IPO. Numbers are very interestingly driven, and we look forward for to see it. But I would really look forward for that. Let us give 1 to 2 quarter more to the company to post the numbers and then come to part to it. But as per the valuation looks, it is a very compelling valuations.
Okay, the next one is a question from Bharat, and he's asking specifically on Geofinance shares. Is there a chance that it will go below 300? Let's pull up the chart and see where it's trading. 352. Kunal, this is a stock that has been on a tear, if I'm not mistaken, so over 50% in the year-to-date period. Is it possible that it will see a bit of a dip?
So, Alex, whether it will go to those levels, I don't know really. But as of now, since the bottom of 200 levels, 200 to 220 levels, this counter is trading at 350 and not even a single lower top, lower bottom. It's clearly up in trade. So, as of now, the trading stop loss on this can be 330, 325 to 330 levels. By any chance, the counter slips below that level, then there is a possibility of this entire uptrend coming to an end and a probable profit booking or a downtrend emerging. So, till the time this counter is about 325, 330, I think comfortable to hold on long positions. Even just on a note, we also holding the position, and the trailing stop loss for in-house is 325 itself.
325. All right. IDFC First Bank and Bandhan. Vijay is asking about this, and he's also asking about Yes Bank. You've already given your view on Yes Bank, Rohan, but what about the other two? Would you buy?
IDFC and Bandhan you talked about, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so both of the companies, I think so IDFC is still decent, but Bandhan I would not look forward for. There are better stocks available in banking side in comparison of Bandhan. And IDFC is also okay, but I feel so that there are better stocks available. So both would be no from my side.
Okay. Prosenjit Ghosh, who's writing in from Howrah, is asking about BEML, which he has bought at levels of 3206, and he's intending to hold for 5 years plus. So it's a very long-term view that he's seeking on this. Of course, I can't expect, Rohan, that you will give us that long a view, but if you are talking about the fundamentals and holding for the long term, what would you say?
So, first of all, we hold in our portfolio with the top 5 allocation. BEML, we are very bullish on the company, the execution, the level of the growth, what we are seeing into overall infrastructure growth and CapEx growth. BEML could be a very big part of it. So I would just tell the investor that don't think too much on a 5 years and don't fix up onto the point. See onto the quarter numbers and then get back to it, and then of course the show. But yeah, we are very bullish that we are looking forward for at least 6,000 to 7,000 rupees price in 1 to 2 years in BEML.
Okay. The next one I will take is on HUL, and we've got Rashmi, who's writing in from Vizag, Vishakhapatnam. She's also asking about Biocon, but I'll focus on one stock today, and we're talking about HUL. It's priced at level, or rather, she's bought at levels of 2,549. The stock is currently trading below, if I'm not mistaken, the buy price. That's right. So, what's the view, Kunal, on rather Rohan, on this one? Fundamentals have been a little bit strained in terms of the input costs, and we're hearing increasingly that these companies are having to scrimp on margins on account of that. What's the view on HUL?
Yeah, so my concern is not more on the margin. My concern is more onto the market size of what this new startup companies are coming with product which are exceptionally superior. I think so. That's a lady who has asked a question. Ma'am, I would like to ask you that how many last 1 year you bought a product of HUL versus product you bought of another new companies to try and test. I'm sure that other companies would be higher than HUL, and that's the biggest problem. till HUL doesn't come with something substantial, something which is more inclusive in market, where you can try this millennial and Gen Z's people who are going to spend more money, I don't think so. And HUL is a great company to buy, right? I mean, portfolio. It's a great company, but for a growth or as an investor, that is where the question comes.
Okay. So a lot of long-term questions coming in, Kunal. So I'm going to quickly toss it back to Rohan. ITC, since you've already spoken about HUL, this is a question coming in from, I don't have the viewer's name. Okay, Devi. Devi is asking about ITC and whether or not it can be a portfolio stock. Rohan, what's your view?
Yeah, so I have honestly, we don't invest in ITC because of our own, the ethical reasons. But I would give you a view on ITC, and that is that, see, it's a stock if you want to have. It's like Ajinkya Rahane in your CSK team, right? Because you want a stability into your team. Except it is not outperforming Nifty 500. So if you want growth, I think so. ITC will not make a great mark on it. It's too big for growing, and till the company doesn't demerge and all that stuff happens. But if you want stability, it's okay. I would not make a part of my portfolio because I want a growth point to it. So it's a yes and no both together, so not a very specific answer.
Okay. Long-term view on Canfin Homes is being sought by Raghuram. He's riding in from Bhubaneswar. He's bought at levels of 650. The stock is currently trading at 750. I will toss it to you, Kunal, on the long-term chart. How does it look?
See, this counter is clearly in uptrend, but it's been almost 1.5 years. This counter is in sideways consolidation within this uptrend, and the support which is placed at around 710 to 20 kind of levels. So till the time this counter is above 710, I think one can comfortably hold on because the view of our viewer is pretty long term. So certainly he can hold on with the trailing stop loss at 710. By any chance, if it slips below that level, then we'll have to revisit. Otherwise, on the higher side, we can see the levels of 875 to 880.
All right. And that brings us to the end of this particular edition of Ask Profit. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the last trading day of the financial year. Of course, we will be back on Monday, on the 1st of the new financial year, and you can ask all of your questions then. Do stay tuned. Lots more coming up over the course of the day, and this is NDTV Profit.